Now back to our lead story this hour. Thandi Tesfagiorigis and her children, Scelo and Merhawi Tesfagiorigis, were stuck in the snow over the weekend and join us now to detail their experience as they spent hours on the N3 in gridlock traffic. A very good morning to you all, and thank you to your family for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I'd like to start with you, Thandi. I mean, firstly, where were you traveling to, and when did the situation start unfolding and getting bad?
Okay, so we were traveling to Durban to a surprise birthday party for my stepdaughter, their sister, and we were the roads were quite clear, slight rain from Joburg. It's only when we got to, I think it's almost close to Heidelberg, that we started having a little bit of snow, but I thought, you know what, it's not going to be a major problem because we've driven in the snow before and, you know, there's no major thing. And all the toll gates were open, the 2 toll gates that we passed, they were open. It's only when we passed that engine garage on Heidelberg, that's when the snow became very heavy. And then as we drove, then we started seeing a lot of trucks. They actually started stopping. And then we were stopping behind the trucks. And I think from there it just became gridlock and we couldn't travel further from there. Yeah.
Before traveling as well, had you heard about the weather warnings as well? Were you aware at all?
So in the morning before, because we've been planning this surprise birthday party for 2 weeks with my daughter's mom, she phoned me in the morning. She said, listen, they are reporting that there's going to be rain on Saturday in Durban. So have you left? I'm like, no, we're about to leave. But she said the rain is reported for Saturday. So I said, okay, listen, let me drive through and we will postpone the surprise party to a Sunday because we wanted to have a whole family gathering. So my experience was that there's going to be heavy rain in Durban on the weekend, but because I was leaving on a Friday, I wasn't really worried. I was like, okay, as long as I get there, and then we will then figure out what we're going to do.
And when you got to that point where you realized that the situation is actually quite dire and all these trucks have stopped and there's so much snow as well, you're traveling with your 2 children too, what did that feel like?
I think I wasn't actually worried because, you know, the previous experience was we've had snow where we would actually stop in somewhere around Heidelberg and we will play around with the snow and still travel on. So there wasn't really a concern that the roads will be closed. So even when the trucks were stopping, we actually stood there for like almost 4 hours. We were parked there and I was telling my host in Durban to say, listen, I don't think we're going to arrive at 9. Just sleep, we'll tell you when we get there. So there wasn't any concern that we will not reach. So when we were stopping, we were like, okay, maybe there is an accident up in front, but we will still be given an opportunity to actually drive down. So there wasn't any concern. I think the concern started when it was like 11. We were supposed to have reached Durban by 9 o'clock, and now it was 11 and we were still stuck. And then I think one of the major things that happened was my car's engine started giving me problems. And I was like, okay, now what is going on? Is the water in the engine frozen or what is going on? I think that is when the panic mode started because we were standing for so long. I then asked my son Scelo to say, listen, just go to the trucks and ask them for water. And then he was quite a trooper, huh? He was walking and he went to the trucks, they gave him water, we put it in, and the engine started running again. And I was like, okay, this is not going to be sustainable because I'm not sure what the engine situation was. I think that's when I actually started panicking.
Yeah. Scelo, the trooper, what was that experience like, also having to walk in that extreme cold and trying to get help, but also not knowing what's exactly going on?
Well, we were just on a nice trip. I didn't think I'd have to, resort to jumping out of the car and asking people for water because my mom told me that's what I need to do. So, of course, like as a son helping her mother or his mother, I decided to get out of the car and I went to ask truck drivers if they had any spare water. So I got out of the car and I just asked the people, and we were lucky enough to find someone that was able to help us. And then yeah, we put the water in the car, and then the car started working again. So I feel like I was pretty lucky to have gotten out and found someone to help us.
Yeah. And what do you do when you're stuck in the car for all those hours?
We were just listening to music and just sleeping, you know, because there's nothing else we could have done. We weren't prepared for what was going to happen. So I feel like there was nothing else we could have done besides just sit in the car and, you know, wait it out.
Did you run out of snacks or food at any point?
Oh, no. We had food, we ate, and we just slept because the traffic was long, we were tired, and yeah, nothing else happened.
And for you, Merhawi, what was that like?
Well, I was very worried because the last time we've seen my sister was during Christmas, so I was very excited to see her. I packed my bag, and well, when I got the news that we needed to head back, I was very sad and upset. But I was also glad that we were safe and we could head back home without scratches.
Yeah.
And when I got home and I heard the news that other people were still stuck, I was very grateful to God and my mother that they decided that we needed to go home.
Well, you're such a cutie pie. You're saying you were sad you missed the party as well. Is there any point where you felt a little scared?
Yes. When the snow got really bad and my mom said that we were sliding on the car, so I was worried that we were going to get into an accident. A couple times we had to stop abruptly when we were on our way and the car was sliding. I was very scared. I made sure my seatbelt was on the entire time and made sure it was very tight.
Oh, well, what a young, wise man you are. Thandi, what's that like for you, traveling with children as well, going through what is potentially a dangerous situation and trying to also calm their feelings throughout the process, making sure you also have enough food, you have enough warmth?
I think, like I said, I started panicking when actually the engine started giving me a problem, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to risk, if this weather is like this, I'm not going to risk driving to Durban, and we turn around. And we had to turn around with other cars still stuck. And as I was turning and we were driving because I wanted to get to the garage to basically check what the issue is with the car. As we were driving, there was an off-ramp onto Heidelberg garage. And there, as I was going, that's where Merhawi is mentioning the car started sliding. And there was actually the ice felt glassy. It was like it was mixed with water. That was quite scary because I felt like, okay, we're going to get into an accident. It's dark. I'm not sure what is happening. And as we are navigating, because the garages, most of them were closed in Heidelberg, and my son finally said we did quite a few turns. At some point, we drove into a truck parking place, and it was I think that's when the realization of what could happen actually hit me, and it was quite scary, I must say. And then once we got to the garage and we find a lot of cars parked there, we were hooting for the attendants. None of them were coming out, and we were like, okay, that means this is where we are parking. Because it was just not going to be possible for us to drive. So we got to the garage around 11 in the evening, and luckily we had enough petrol in the car and we had bought enough snacks. So that was not an immediate concern, and we were already at the garage, so we knew that at least now we have petrol. By the way, I saw a lot of people talking about having to pee on the side of the road.
Yes.
Let me just say, I had a lot of people saying that we had. So when we were at the garage, luckily we had those facilities available to us, and I'm grateful that the garage actually didn't chase people away, because some areas you might find that the people, they were quite accommodative. There were quite a few people, and we got to sleep with our engine on, so there was no concern of us running out of petrol. So we slept. We had blankets. I had packed a few blankets for the kids. and myself. So we had blankets and we had the car running. And then the issue with the engine started again in the morning. That's when I actually bought the antifreeze, and after the antifreeze, we were able to drive safely back.
So how many hours in total were you on the road?
Over 12 hours.
Sure.
Because we left Joburg around 2 o'clock, and we came back. We got home on Saturday around 3 o'clock, so just about 4 hours.
Yeah, it's a long time.
About 12 hours, sorry,
Yeah.
not 4.
It's a long time to be on the road. I know you were very looking forward to the party and seeing your sister as well, but once you did finally get home, how did you feel?
Well, I felt pretty disappointed, but I was very glad. I called my sister. I told her that about the surprise, that we were going to see her and that we were sorry that we couldn't make it. She was also a bit upset, but she was happy that we actually made the effort to go and see her, because she is in a university and it's been a really long time.
I'm sure you're going to get to see her soon.
Yes, during Christmas.
That's very soon. That's coming up very soon. So just a couple more sleeps. Okay. Scelo, was there any point where you were thinking, oh no, but it's also just beautiful to see the snow in the midst of the potential danger that it posed as well?
Yeah, we're just admiring the snow as well, because like we saw people on our way back, there were people playing with the snow. So I feel like that eased my emotions, because from where we came from, we saw a lot of accidents, and like even the carports, the shelter fell down at the garage. So we were like, oh, this is actually a nice experience, because you know it doesn't snow in South Africa as much. So we enjoyed the snow, and I was just like appreciative of the environment that we're in. But I like the snow myself. Like it wasn't a thing of are we gonna survive it? I was just like admiring how they snow in our country, you know.
Yeah.
So I was just happy that I was in that environment and I got to experience it.
It's almost bittersweet.
Yeah, at the same time.
And when you did hear that there were people who were badly affected by this as well, and at least one person even dying, how did that make you feel?
Oh, we heard about that while we were stuck. So we were also worried about our safety and if we're gonna make it home alive. So I was just thinking about that and my family, and just trying to consider like the possible options that we have, either to go or continue on our journey to Durban. So I feel like our people, our mother was my support. She made me happy, and I feel like me going through this with my family just made it even much more better, because if it was with anyone else, I wouldn't be able to cope with the pressure and the difficulty of going through what we're going through at that time.
Absolutely. I couldn't have rounded it off on better words as well. Best company to be around your family, right? Thandi, thank you so much for coming into the studio and bringing your sons as well to talk about this ordeal that you went through. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity, and also we really feel bad for the families who lost their loved ones, and hope they find comfort. This was seriously unplanned, and I just imagine if something had happened to my children, how I would have felt. So we really pass our condolences to the families. Thank you.
Really, wise words indeed, and quite encouraging to hear as well, because you went through it and you saw what it could have potentially turned into. So really grateful that it didn't turn out negative for any one of you, and you're here to tell us your ordeal as well.
Thank you.
And hopefully you will see your sister at Christmas, okay, without any more bad weather.
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
That's amazing. Now, more news and views coming up when we return on the other side, so please do stay with us.